Hello, YouTube. So, yesterday was the season finale of Game of Thrones. And there's a lot of things that I could say about it. But I feel that they're like the same thing that everyone else would have to say. That is that, okay, the narration was a bit off this season, and a lot of opinions and all the events that happened. But there is one thing that I want to talk about, that it does involve not only Game of Thrones, but a lot of shows that I like. So I thought you guys might be interested on it. So yes, I will discuss some spoilers. So in case you haven't seen it and want to go check Game of Thrones first, go do that. If not, well, besides all the stuff that happened in this season, one thing that everyone was looking forward to was Dany meeting Jon Snow, Daenerys meeting Jon Snow, because they're like the only rightful heirs to the Iron Throne. And a lot of people were looking forward to them meeting because there's a lot of people that ship them. They want them to be a couple. And as it turns out, yesterday, they finally did it. They had sex. Incestuous sex. Whether or not it's an incestuous relationship, like, come on, like, our two main antagonists are in an incestuous relationship, and it doesn't matter. I want to ask, like, a really honest question. Why are Jon and Daenerys a couple? Why is it that they got together? Because it seems to me that the main reason that they are together is because the public shipped them. Think about it. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because this season, like I was saying, the storytelling was really sloppy. You know, they had only 7 episodes to tell a lot of events, so a lot of stuff happened really, really quickly. A lot of traveling was cut off. Everyone got to where they had to go really, really fast. Fine, we're on the end of the show. Some stuff can be suppressed. But the only time Jon and Daenerys had any interactions was him telling her, I'm not going to bend the knee. And her telling him, I don't trust you, bend the knee. And then all of a sudden, everyone was saying stuff like, well, you know, like Sir Davos telling Jon, she's beautiful. And Tyrion telling Daenerys, he's handsome. And just because of that, they got together. They never really developed a relationship where they're starting to trust each other as individuals and then developed love out of it. Like I said, I'm willing to give Game of Thrones the benefit of the doubt because, yeah, this season went by really, really quickly. But there's other shows that don't have this benefit. And that's what I want to talk about. Forced ships in TV shows. So, what's the ship for the people that have never heard the term before? It could happen, you don't know. So, whenever you're a fan of a TV show and you see 2 characters that you really, really like and think that maybe they should hook up or get together, and you start like supporting that, we say that you have a ship because it's a relationship. And sometimes the fandom of the show believes this so hard that the creators takes it into account and they include it in some sort of way into the main series. Sometimes they're just, I don't want to say make-believe ships, but ships that stay on the fandom side of things rather than on the canon side of things. This could be like Sherlock and Watson from the show Sherlock, House and Wilson from the show House. With Game of Thrones, for instance, one of my favorite couples that now I'm convinced it's never going to happen is Brienne and Jaime. And even though a lot of ships have a lot of fans, not all of them become materialized into the TV shows. But some of them do. And sometimes I think it's for all the wrong reasons. A lot of characters seem to have a lot of chemistry. And that is fine. But I feel that once the public sees that two characters have a lot of chemistry, the only relationship that they try to make them have is lovers. And I'm always left wondering, what happened to friendship? It seems that for whatever reason, we think that the strongest bond that two people can have that are not family related is love. Which, yeah, is true, but romantic love instead of friendship or filial love. And that bothers the hell out of me. One of the main reasons that this relationship between Jon and Daenerys bothers me is because it could have been a great moment to have a woman and a man who are both royalty, they're both monarchs, and have them be friends, allies, have a relationship of respect, of mutual respect for one another, where it's all about them trying to survive this. But no, now they're lovers. Now it's like, why did they have to be lovers? Another case that bothers me a lot, and this actually did brought the show down, was the case of Arrow. So in case you haven't seen Arrow, is an adaptation of the DC comic Green Arrow. If you don't know which that is the green version of Batman. And in the universe of Green Arrow does have a partner, a lover, and that is Black Canary. This is one of the most important couples in the Justice League, because it's a couple that was born in the Justice League. It was Oliver and Diana Lance coming together and trying to survive as a couple in this crazy world of superheroes. And it's a really nice couple. It's one of my favorite couples as well. And in the show Arrow, they did include the character of Black Canary. He did had a lot of chemistry with her, but everyone was saying that the chemistry with Black Canary was forced, that the actor and the actress that were portraying them, they didn't really seem to have this sort of chemistry. But there was one character that did have a lot of chemistry with Oliver Queen, and that was Felicity Smoke. I used to love Felicity. I swear to God I did. Because Felicity was a great character in the Arrow universe. She was original to the TV series. But because she did had a really quirky personality and a great chemistry with Oliver, they decided that they should be lovers. And once they became lovers, the quality of the show went down. Why? Because the creators appeased to a majority that wanted them to be a couple. And all of a sudden, all of Arrow was about Oliver and Felicity, when Arrow is about his adventures as Green Arrow and the weird relationship that he has with Black Canary, where they're both superheroes and they need to balance that out. The great thing that he had about Felicity in the beginning is that she was like really quirky, but they were really good friends. Like I was saying, they were allies. They trusted in each other. Oliver at that point in time had no one to trust, and Felicity had a lot of abilities as a hacker that could help him. But all of a sudden was like, nope, they're not gonna be friends. We need them to be lovers. Take those clothes off and get into bed. And after that, the character of Felicity did suffer a lot, because she was no longer the quirky hacker girl that would go and do things. She became the waifu stereotypes. All of a sudden, if you watch the 3rd and 4th season of Arrow, all that Felicity does is stare at the screen and just go, Ollie. It's really upsetting, because she was a really good character. Now, this does not mean that all couples that get pressured, so to speak, by the public are bad ideas. I think an idea that did work out was in the series Once Upon a Time, with the character of Killian Jones, which was Captain Hook, and the protagonist, which was Emma Swan. Now, neither of them had like a real couple. Like Hook doesn't really have a lover in Peter Pan, and Emma at the point in time, she didn't really had like an SO in the series. But then the characters develop chemistry, like all these other characters that I'm talking about. But why did the chemistry between Emma and Hook did develop as romantic chemistry, while I'm saying that the chemistry between Oliver and Felicity was actually chemistry of friends. Well, I do have some ideas to why this is. When you have two characters and they develop chemistry that you didn't expect it, you have to wonder, what is the gain from them being lovers? If they become lovers, does it divert from the series' goal? For instance, the whole point of Oliver was not trying to find love. His story arc was not one that was about him becoming whole again and finding love in his life. No. Like, what he wanted to do was save the city. He says it at every single point in the series. And then all of a sudden he forgets about the city and it's all about Felicity. That changes the character for the worse. The same thing with Felicity. She wanted to help Oliver save the city because she thought this was bigger than herself. And all of a sudden, it's all about Oliver. So that changes the characters for the worst. So then they shouldn't have been a couple. What about Emma and Hook? Hook's story arc in Once Upon a Time is that he wasn't very trustful, that he was, well, a pirate and a scallywag. And he was in love with another woman. But because of Emma's influence, he starts to become a better man. He wants to be a better man to gain something from Emma. And this can be romantic tension. This could be a romantic relationship. So him falling in love with her felt very natural, because it did came into his story arc of him wanting to stop being a villain and become a hero. The point of Emma's character was that she was very close, that she didn't allow herself to have any feelings for anybody. And again, with Hook trying to win her, she had to open herself to the possibility of having relationships, of opening up to her family, opening up to friends, opening up to love again. So again, this did came into her story arc as a character. That's why there are cases when you do have two characters that develop some chemistry that you did not expect, that it is a good idea to have them be a couple. But if it does divert from your main storyline and you're just doing this to appease the public, then don't do it. A friendship between two characters can be just as powerful as love, as romantic love. Because a friendship, it's a relationship of trust, a relationship of loyalty. One of my favorite characters of all time is Doc Holliday from the movie Tombstone, because he is really good friends with Wyatt Earp. And his whole story arc is how loyal he is to Wyatt. He's sick, he's dying of consumption, and yet he's all the way with Wyatt into the trip of retribution that he goes on. And you know, if this could have been a series and people saw it today, they probably would have been like, make Doc and Wyatt a thing. Why? Because they have chemistry. No, not all couples deserve to be. If you want to have your ships, go ahead. It's part of the beauty of fiction, that you can imagine whatever you want and make it so in your head and make believe that it is whatever you want. But in the canon, as storytelling, to make a story good, don't always follow your innermost deep desires when it comes to ships. So yeah, this one was a bit weird. But yeah, I've always felt that way with couples in fiction nowadays, because everyone has to have a partner, everyone has to have an OTP. But if you're writing fiction and you have two characters that have chemistry, consider friendship, please.